I want to buy a copper pen, but need help picking between the Karas Kustoms Ink, Tactile Turn Gist, and the Montegrappa Copper Mule. Which one would you pick if you could only choose one? Ooh, that's a tough choice, especially because there's such a price range between all these. So I have all three of them right here, so I'll go ahead and give you a little rundown, little comparison. I know you always appreciate the comparisons when I do them in the Q&A, so I'm happy to do that here for you. So the Karas Kustoms Ink is not only the heaviest pen that I think I've ever used, it's really heavy in this copper. The copper material, the density of copper is greater than brass or aluminum or anything. So if you're getting the Karas Kustoms Ink, the copper is the heaviest version of it. So this one is going to run you $200. Copper is expensive and you got to machine it and all that kind of stuff. So some of the pros, I did pros and cons list here. It's big, it's heavy, it's solid. Kind of minimal disruption to the body, so the patina will show really nicely. Whenever I'm thinking about copper, I'm thinking about letting it patina over time. This is a new one, so it's nice and shiny. I don't shine up my copper pens. This is a brand new one I just grabbed off the shelf, so it looks maximum shininess. I mean, you can actually polish it even shinier if you want to, but it's relatively untarnished. Whereas my Copper Mule, for example, has been sitting for a while, and it has a patina and some different color things going on with it, but I like kind of that natural look, but you can polish it. You can do whatever you want. That's kind of the cool thing about copper. So the fact that it's kind of unbroken, it doesn't have a center band or anything, it doesn't have anything crazy going on, you get some of that patina effect really nicely on this pen. So the cons are some of the similar ones. It's big, heavy, it's really solid. It's not really great for a long form writer. You can't cap the pen. Well, you can cap the pen, but it doesn't really secure well. So I wouldn't recommend posting it. Not that you're really going to want to, because it's so heavy anyway. It's not really going to help you a whole ton. So, and then the clip is kind of tight. It's a stainless steel clip, so it's really durable, but it's really stiff as well. So if you've got really delicate clothing, a dress shirt or something like that, this thing is going to be so heavy, it's going to lag down in there, it's going to snag. So it's not really made for that. It's really made as more of like a machinist pen. It's like the guys that make these are machinists, and they're kind of rough and tumble, and that's really cool. But it's not really exactly a pen for around the office or the courthouse. If you're a lawyer or something, you're not going to whip this thing out, most likely. So that's the ink for Karas Kustoms. The Tactile Turn Gist is the next one that you kind of mentioned. So this one's a little bit different. It's a little slimmer. It's a little more tapered look to it. Sort of like a Lamy 2000-esque kind of blimp style shape here, where it tapers on both ends. So this one, the material, it's going to patina, but it's not going to patina quite as evenly because it's got these ridges that are cut, as like a spiral down the whole pen. So it gives you a lot of good grip, which is really nice. Of course, the copper itself, it's got a pretty decent grip to it already. It's not, even though it's a smooth, it'll grip, and as it patinas, I feel like it grips even better once it patinas. I don't know if that's actually the case. Maybe it's just, in my own mind, I feel like it is. But this one, because it's got the spiral fluted kind of cut thing, not fluted, but it's just got a little cut on there, makes it really easy to grab. But when it patinas over time, I have one of these personally, which I left at home, so I grabbed one off the shelf to show you, but this one is relatively shiny because it's newer. Mine is very patinaed. It's more like the brown color of my Copper Mule. And because it's got the cut, it doesn't have like a big continuous kind of look to its patina splotches. It's a little more piecemeal. So that's just one thing that matters to you at all. It's more compact. It's a good pocket pen. It's got a relatively stiff clip as well, but it's also very durable. I find this clip to be a little easier to use than the Karas Kustoms one. I don't know why. It's just how it is. I find it's a great carry-around pen, good pocket pen. It's not too heavy for a copper pen. I mean, all copper pens are going to be fairly heavy, but I've carried this one around a bit myself, and it's fairly manageable. And both pens are standard. I mean, actually, all three of these pens are standard international, and they all take converters, so that's not really a thing. So you don't have to worry about that. And the nice thing about copper, too, while I'm thinking of it, it's biostatic. So it's antimicrobial. So it'll actually kind of naturally, it's more hygienic. So, and it's great for people with like allergies and stuff like that too, unless you're allergic to copper, in which case it would be really bad. But you're allergic to other things, it might not be so bad. What else did I have in here? It's the most affordable of the group too. So this is $139 for this one. So $200 for this one. A lot of that's just the size, and it's different manufacturer and stuff. But these are both made in America too, which is kind of a plus as well. maybe it's not for you, but I find that to be a plus. Some of the cons of this one, it's not as easy to polish. If you like to try to keep it shiny, you can't go this way with it because of the ridges. It's just going to tear your polishing cloth apart. So you have to polish it around, which really isn't a problem. You just have to be aware of it. So you have to be a little more intentional about how you polish it. I don't polish mine, so I don't worry about that. But if you are trying to keep it shinier, that's something you're going to be dealing with. And yeah, that's about it. It's just not quite as shiny. And then the other one is the Montegrappa Copper Mule. So this is the most expensive one of the group, $375. So it's definitely a little pricier, but it's more kind of fit and finish than the rest of them. These are definitely like, you can tell these are both made by, American machinists, and this one is made by Italians. So, a little more aesthetic kind of built into it. It's a little kind of fancier. So if you're going for, something that has more of that vibe, this would definitely be it. This one is lighter than the other two. It's not a solid rod stock like this, like it's formed and stuff like that, but it's lighter, and I find it to be, well balanced and things like that. It is postable, and it's actually fairly usable while it's posted too. The other two, maybe not so much. Well, now that I think about it, I don't know that I really post my copper one. It's definitely postable. Yeah, it's actually not too bad. That's very postable. It's just the Karas Kustoms one that's a little impractical, just because of its size. But this one is very postable. On the plus side, the aesthetics are really nice. It's got kind of a two-tone look going on, so it's got a stainless steel with the trim, the clip, the nib, finial on the top. So I like the aesthetics of this a lot. I really kind of dig the two-tone. And then the stainless steel has kind of like this, gray-black kind of stuff going on in the threads and in the logoing here. So I really like that a lot. And then when this one polishes up, it polishes up really nice because it's very, very kind of a flawlessly formed copper. In mine, it's hard to tell, in this light, but let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and just show you some of the patina. The patina will look kind of similar on all the pens, but over time, see how it, you can kind of catch a little bit. You can see under the clip there, where I haven't been touching it very much, that it's still got more of its natural kind of shiny copper state. That's what it came looking like. It actually came looking more like this in its copper, but it's really browned up quite a bit. And then it kind of gets like your fingerprints, the oil in your fingerprints will leave kind of fingerprints on it at first, and then it'll get kind of tarnished, and you can get even some like blue and green and red hues in it. They're not coming out super strong right now, but that is definitely something that forms over time with the pen. So that's the coolest thing I think about copper. So it's the most elegant design of the bunch. It's got the two-tone look. I find that to be a pro. Very smooth capping action. The other ones are just metal on metal threads. This one, it's actually got, I don't know if it's what kind of, plastic it is in here, but it's plastic on metal, which, I personally think makes a world of difference in terms of how it feels when it threads, and then it threads nice and crisp. So it feels like a different experience when you're capping the pen. And then, it just polishes up really nice, just like the Karas Kustoms. The cons, it's most expensive. The center band is fairly prominent, so it kind of breaks up the visual look a little bit. Maybe that's really going to be a preference thing for you. And that's kind of it. And it's got the clip on this one is pretty nice, fairly stiff as well, but it's got a little roller wheel at the end of the clip, so that kind of helps. A little bit easier to use on like dress shirts and stuff like that. And this is kind of more of a pen that I would think you'd carry in a dress shirt than maybe the other two. But you can do whatever you want, honestly. I mean, heck, it's your life. So when it comes down to which one would I choose, that's a tough one. Honestly, they're all great copper pens. I would highly recommend any of them. It's going to boil down to your own personal preference, really. I would say if you're just trying to go for a copper pen, you want something a little more accessible, I really like the Tactile Turn. That's just kind of me. It's a little more of a pocket pen. I find that I love the Karas Kustom. It's just so heavy. It's so heavy. But, it is the most popular style of the Karas Kustoms we sell is, I think the Copper Ink actually is I might have to pull the numbers recently after our holiday seasons, but I think that the Copper Ink is our top selling Karas Kustoms pen, if I'm not mistaken. Go figure. And then I really like the Copper Mule as well. It is a little pricier though, so it's a little less accessible. So I think, you know, if it really came down to it, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't personally have a Karas Kustoms, so I feel like I can't choose that one. That would be hypocritical. I do have both of the other two. I end up carrying around and using the Montegrappa more. So I guess without price being a serious factor here, I would say the Copper Mule is what I'm ending up using in my daily life a little bit more. There it is. But really, I can recommend any of them.